Good morning, Stampers. It's Elizabeth from StampScrapandMore.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Canada. And thanks for joining me today for another video tutorial. We'll be playing with the Lovely and Sweet bundle. It is the stamp set and the coordinating dies. This is part of the Nature's Sweetness Suite. Say that 10 times. That is in the mini catalog that goes from January through to the end of April. And as a reminder, this is celebration. This is we're in the end of January right now, 2024, and this is celebration time. So for every $60 spent before shipping and handling, you can get an item for free from the celebration catalog. And the Lovely and Sweet bundle works out to $72. So this is something that you like, and there you go. You get a free item from the celebration. All right, we're going to do a little bit of dry embossing, embossing in gold, embossing in silver. Going to bring in a little bit of element from the annual catalog, so a little bit of gold to go with the embossing. It's an elegant card and I hope you like it. And as always, my goal is to inspire you. So let's get overhead and I'm going to show you all the components and we're going to make the card. This is the stamp set, and I'm going to show you some coordination, and these are the dies that go with it. So this coordinates with that, this one coordinates with that, and this one coordinates with that. All of the others dies are standalone dies, so they don't have a coordination here. We're going to also be using this die and this die for a little bit of interest, and we're going to be using this die and this stamp. We are also going to be using this stamp and the Field, Lawn, and Garden stamp and the Just Sending a Bit of Love. I'm going to get to that when we emboss it because there's something I don't love about it, and maybe you know what I don't love about it. If you do know what I don't love about it before I get to it, post that in the comments. So here it is on page 41 of the mini catalog. We're also going to be using a little bit of the gold mini faux leather trim. We're going to be using some of that. And from the annual catalog, we're going to be using the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder and the gold distressed paper. I had a class this weekend and we used the gold distressed paper and everybody said, where did this come from? And it's in the annual catalog and it pairs really well when you're embossing in gold. So it's right here, number 10, and it's the distressed gold 12 by 12. There are 2 sheets in the pack. It's a detail accent piece, and this is what it looks like. It's really distressed gold, and it looks really nice on the card. It's a little bit of accent to a card. This, I've already started cutting it down, so what's in the catalog, what you get is 12 by 12. And here you'll see we've got some silver embossing, some gold embossing. This is embossed in gold. You can see that. There's that distressed gold. We've got a little bit of pecan pie in here, and this is on a base of pebbled path. We are also going to be bringing in the water pens, and coloring on basic white. So a little bit of, you don't normally watercolor on basic white, but we're going to do it on this card very lightly, very lightly. All right, so let's get started. The card base is pebbled path, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. 2 pieces of basic white that are both 5 1/4 by 4. Had to think about that. One is for the inside and one is for the outside. I have already die cut out using the gold distressed, this element here, that's it. And using pecan pie, we used this element here just for a little added detail. And then I've got a piece of basic white thick that we're going to use for stamping and embossing, because we're going to do a little bit of light watercoloring on here. All right, let's start that, but I forgot the most important part. I'm going to take my embossing buddy and just run it over the basic white so that I'm getting off any fibers, oils, that type of thing. And we're just going to stamp this. The basic white thick, while basic white and the basic white thick aren't really for watercoloring. You can get away with it with a really light hand, but I would suggest using basic white. I'm just looking at the inside of here. On the screen, it looked really a weird color, but that's not the color it is. Okay. And I'm just going to cover this in the gold embossing powder. And you know, while we're at it, before I emboss this, I am going to do the front sheet as well, or the top layer. So there it is. I'm going to heat the emboss that in a second while I've got everything out. I'm just going to keep going. Where's my embossing buddy? I guess this is the outside piece. And just running it the embossing buddy over it. And now I'm going to take the field, lawn, and garden. And oh, I want one up here. I want one partially off the edge down here. And I want one partially off the edge here. And I'm going to, woo! You saw that, right? All the time. I get embossing powder over everything. I don't know if anybody else is like that. It's just a klutz. I'm just a klutz when it comes to embossing powder. I'll clean this up in a second. Well, before I get the, before I go on, I'll just clean that up. After I emboss everything. There we go. And now I'm going to do the silver. And right here. I've done this first so that I have an idea as to where I want to put this hashtag grunge kind of thing. Okay, so I want to put one up here. I'm going to put one down here. And I'm going to put one down here. And then I'm going to run the silver over it. Just then I'll take a look to see if I need any more. And we are going to run this through a dry embossing folder. So, you know, if there's a little, oops, it's okay, because there'll be additional texture on it. So I think that's good. What do you think, guys? That's good. And I'm going to cover this up. And before I go any further, let me get baby wipe out here and just, it's not really wet, but enough to pick up that mess. It's just slightly damp. That's better. Okay, now I'm going to bring out the heat gun. Talk amongst yourselves. I might put on some music. When I went to pick it up, I got a little mark there, but I think I'll be okay because the die, it'll cut out with the die. It's on the outside of the die. So let me just bring that over and put this down. I don't think it'll, yeah, it's outside the die registration mark. So it's not going to be seen. I don't think so. If you want to, you could put a little bit of washi tape to hold it down. Especially when you emboss, because the paper curls a little bit. You can put it into a book to straighten it out, but I'm just going to live dangerously, and I'm not going to put down washi tape or not going to straighten it out. So I'm hoping that it didn't curl on me. There we go. Perfecto. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And you know, while I've got this out, oh no, let me do one more thing. So I've got this piece here, and this is going to lay on top of there like that. So I would just want to see if there's anywhere else that I need to put some of the embossing, the gold or the silver. And I think I'm okay because I am going to run it through the time worn type. So let me just do that now. So here is the embossing folder. And then I can put the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine away. I'm lining it. There's a black registration mark here, right along the bottom here, and I want it straight. And there we go. Okay, so here it is, and here it's, I'm going to mount it like that. So we've got the gold embossing, the silver embossing, the pebbled path, which has that silver undertone to it. Who had thought? Like, I know mixed metal is a thing, but I really love how it looks together. And I'm just going to adhere this. Make sure you get right to the corners because it's been embossed and you don't want the corners to lift at all. And I'm just going to put this down, leaving an even mat and really securing it down, especially on the corners. You could use Tombow glue. A lot of people, Tombow glues, they like their Tombow glue. So now we have this piece here. I have a watercolor marker pen, a watercolor brush. I have some paper towel. I have a cup here that has water in it was cleaned. And I've got my colors are going to be Daffodil Delight, Petal Pink, and Soft Sea Foam. I wanted really, really light colors. Let me just put that aside. Okay, let me start with the Soft Sea Foam. I'm going to squeeze the top to the bottom just to get a puddle. If you don't have a lot of ink in there, which I don't, you could use a re-inker. I'm going to try and push it down more. Okay, so I've got my pen here and I'm going to clean my brush off a little bit. Okay, I got my pen here. You don't want it too watery, but you do want some water. Does that make sense? And I'm lightly going to color the veins like that. I am not putting a lot of water on it, and I'm just lightly coloring it. And it's just a hint of green. I'm just going to show it like that. If you don't color them all, that's okay, because you know, in nature, is there a leaf that is totally saturated all the way around with the same color? And the goal is to add a little bit of color, but to not saturate it so that the paper is going to warp. You're going to get fibers. And this is why I'm using the basic white thick, because it takes a little bit more of the water than the regular basic white. And one more here. There you go. It's just a hint of color. I have it all. Yep. Okay. I'm going to clean that off again. And now I'm going to do the petal pink. I'm going to do the same. And squeeze some clean water into there. And if you want to, take a little bit off on your paper towel. Make sure I'm in the frame here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of hint of pink to the flowers. And with the flowers, I'm putting more concentrated color, excuse me, in the middle. and then taking it out. Okay, and there's only 2 flowers. I'll show you what I mean. It's really pretty. Really love this technique. And now I'm going to clean my brush off again and do the Daffodil Delight. Ooh, I got lots of ink on here. And squeeze it. There's water in this, and I'm just going to squeeze it to, there we go, to get some clean water. And put a little bit of Daffodil Delight on those. I think they're like bulbs. That one's a little dark, but it's okay. It's all right. Was it Bob Ross's Happy Accidents? There we go. I'm not happy with this one because it's, let me see if I can get a little bit more off. I don't want to saturate it too much because then the paper is going to really get wet. All right, it'll do. And so there it is. You can see the gold embossing. Let me put the water away, clean up that little mess, put that away. Okay. Oh, we're not finished embossing though. So on the inside, we're going to stamp. This is what I don't like, guys. I do not like the word just. I do not like the word just sending a bit of love your way. So I'm going to mask it off so that it says sending a bit of love your way. Is it just me? Is it me? Or is it the word just? I don't know. I do not know. But it pairs well with masking off, so it's okay. It's not going to be an issue. So I'm just going to cover up the word just like that. My Post-it notes are getting old, so they're not holding as well as normal. But I'm going to ink up, take that off, sending a bit of love your way, keeping fingers crossed that I'm straight. If you don't want to emboss it, you could use pecan pie, if you don't want to emboss it. But because we've embossed the outside, I'm going to emboss the inside. And I see a little bit, I missed a little bit here, so I'm going to take the brush and brush that off. There we go. Sending a bit of love your way. So I removed the word just. Give me your opinion on the word just in that phrase. And there is sending a bit of love your way. To me, like if it's just, that's all I'm sending you. I'm just sending you. But here I'm sending you, not just sending you. Am I being too particular? Let me know. But it's fixable for me. Alrighty, and then this goes on the inside. This is my mixed metals card. Gold, silver. Okay. And now let's build this baby. This is going to go on the top like that. And I need my dimensionals. We are going to tuck a few things underneath. So I shouldn't be putting dimensionals under at the very end, in the middle. I made this card a while ago. As I mentioned, it was a swap with some fellow Canadian demonstrators, and they've all received their swap now, so I can go ahead and I can create the project. And I just want to make sure I've left this like that. Yep. So this is going to get popped up as well. And so this will give that there'll be dimensionals under here because it's going to be popped up, and it's going to have it, give it a base. Hello, I can talk today. All right. I may put more dimensionals on after, depending on how this looks, like that. And this is going to be flush. So I'm going to put dimensionals on here, and then I'm going to tuck it under there like that. More dimensionals. What would we ever do without our dimensionals, guys? What would we do? I'd be lost. Dimension, detail, that's all what adds to the detail of a card, I think. And I'm just going to put that like that. It is just, here, there's a word just again. It's just added detail to the card. And I am going to, this is going to be flush, and I'm going to put some Tombow glue. I opened up a new one yesterday at the class. Oh no, we didn't open it up. Maybe this was it. There we go. And I'm going to use my tweezers to tuck this in. And like this. And it's a little high, or my dimensional, so I am going to trim this down a bit. Like that. It was a dimensional was blocking it. And like this. There we go. And then last but not least, I'm going to take some of the trim. This is the faux trim. And I'm going to tuck it under there like that. I am going to angle that end. This trim works beautifully with Tombow glue. Just so you know, it adheres really well. Class I had this weekend, we used it a lot. And used the Tombow glue to adhere it down. And it really works well. I think it's a little too thick to do a bow to it, just so you know. So I wouldn't actually do a bow, but it works well with a little bit of Tombow glue. And it's just adding a little bit of added detail to the card. Like that. And I'm putting it underneath this end here so that it has something to rest on. There we go. Make sure it's ink on my fingers now, or not ink glue on my fingers. I am going to put a dimensional, a baby dimensional on that end there. And like we haven't all done this before. I'm just going to tuck a baby dimensional there. And oops. Nice if I pulled the back off. Like that. And where else do I need one? I need one there. So it doesn't sag, it sits nicely, especially after it's gone through the post. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to put one there. Like that. And I'm going to put one there too. Should have put those all on before I put the card on, but that's okay. This works well. There we go. Here's the card. Isn't that pretty? I love how that turned out. Lots of detail on the card, and then sending a bit of love your way. So not just sending you a bit of love your way, sending you a bit of love your way. There you go. That's today's card. I hope you like that. Let me see if you can see that better. Lots of embossing, lots of detail. And thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed that card. And as always, happy stamping, and we'll talk to you again soon.